This is word of wisdom. There is a lot of controversy going on about this person being a false prophet, this person being a prophet of God. Anybody that fight for the title of prophet, for the title of apostle, for the title of bishop, for any titles, you have to question who is causing them to fight, because anybody that God bestowed a gift upon or an office upon, you don't fight. You don't fight because somebody called you something that they perceive you to be. You let God word be sure and true with the working power through you. What I mean about that is, when God speak a word, his word never return back to him void. So if he bestowed a office, if he anointed or appointed you to be a prophet, apostle, preacher, teacher, bishop, whatever the case may be, you don't have to fight for that title, right? So, y'all, I'm in a car. It's hot. I'm cleaning up my car, but I wanted to get on here and say this. Most importantly, God called us to be a holy nation, a royal priesthood, God's special possession. That is what we're supposed to be fighting for. Not fighting people, but we're supposed to fight our flesh to stand in that position, to be a holy nation and a royal priesthood, God's special possession, who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So once again, Ephesians 4:11 through 16 says, "And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and some teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love, may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ." So it said, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro. So let me keep on. Tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of man and cunning craftiness, whereby they live in wait to deceit. So if you're fighting, y'all, it's hot outside. Okay. So please forgive me. If you're fighting for a position of apostle, prophet, anybody got to question who you really are, because you don't fight for a position. You don't fight to be known as a thing. God called us to be a holy nation, first and foremost, a royal priesthood, his special possession. That's what you're fighting your flesh for daily, not fighting other people. Not trying to prove you have a gift or an office, and not trying to prove that God anointed and appointed you, because it's going to be evident. Anybody that's fighting to be known as a apostle, a prophet, a preacher, a teacher, evangelist, any position, gift, or position, office, you is not of God. Because even Jesus, he was a prophet, right? But he was a prophet, priest, and king. He didn't fight for his stance of prophet. He didn't fight for the stance of king. He didn't fight for the stance of priest. He didn't have to fight, because he was it. He stood in that position until eternity. He didn't fight. So why are you fighting? If you are fighting because of this title, you is not of God. And I mean, I know a couple of people I see, and who you. Anyways, let me say what I'm about to say. A couple of people I see fighting, because of this title. Really, you are not of God. You are of Satan. Satan. You are of the devil. And I know this for a fact. The few that's fighting for this position of prophet and trying to fight and let it be known that the word has come to pass, you are not of Christ. There's a few that I know right now that's swamping the internet with this war of who they are. It's not of God. It's of Satan, the devil. It's in the house of the harlot. Whether man or woman. So y'all got to be careful out there. Be smart. And when I say be careful, be smart, I'm trying to do it too. Be careful and be smart. Okay? Y'all, once again, it's hot. It is hot. When I say it's hot, I mean it's hot out here. I'm trying to clean my car out. But this was on my mind to say, what is the other Bible verse I wanted to give y'all? God called us to be a holy nation and a royal priesthood and God's special possession. So the first one was he gave some apostles, prophets, and some evangelists and pastors and teachers. Once again, that was Ephesians 4:11 through 16. Y'all go read that whole section, okay? Because you wanna get the context of what it's really saying. And then God called us to be a holy nation, a royal priesthood, his special possession, that we can be called out of darkness into his marvelous light. I'm going to give y'all this other one. 1 Peter 2:9. But you are chosen, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. 1 Peter 2:9. The darkness is fighting for a title. Being in light is holding your stance no matter what a person thinks, because ultimately it's what God has done and what God think. It's not what man thinks. See, this is the thing. So many people has got too common with holding man up on a pedestal and putting him on a throne that God should be. And so many people has gotten too comfortable with putting themselves there as well. And so that's a lot of what you see in ministry nowadays. Humans have put themselves on this pedestal. The people that's fighting for this title have put themselves on a pedestal that God ain't even placed them. And you know why I say God ain't placed them? Rather, God could have had the ideal to put them in that position. But somewhere along down the line, they turned over their hand to Satan, not God. And now, where God really wanted them to be in truth and righteousness and peace and harmony, they are not. They in this condemned, chaotic place with Satan, trying to fight for a position that God have not placed them in, because if God had placed them in a position, they wouldn't be fighting for a title. They would just have a stance. The stance of a prophet, the stance of a preacher, the stance of a teacher, the stance of a apostle, the stance of a bishop. Not fighting. So once again, be smart out there. Don't take no wooden nickels, because this is what my daddy used to say all the time in his family. Don't take no wooden nickels. You can't spend it. Okay? You cannot spend wooden nickels, okay? You can only build with it. Build with it. You can't spend it. Don't take none. And yeah, just I hope y'all seeking God for everything, questioning God about everything, questioning him, and is asking him if you should do this and you should do that. That's what I mean about questioning, not questioning his righteousness or his truth. And you can't question too, because God want us to study to show thyself approved. So study means to get an understanding as well. So you want to study and you want to get the understanding. But yeah, seek God about these things. Y'all be blessed.